mortgage, your home equity can do this. Agreed? The private reserve account never does this. It either does this or this. Grow your equity in an account that's tax-free with no risk. And you've got a $300,000 death benefit in this example that pays the home off if you die tomorrow. And then in year 16, you stop paying the $1,610 out of your pocket. Instead, have the private reserve account pay your mortgage, years 16 through 30. You spent exactly the same money for 15 years. You with me? Your value of your home is what it is. It doesn't matter if you paid it off in 15 years or 30. The value of your home is the value of your home. Agreed? Who cares how you paid it off? Here, not only did the private reserve account pay your mortgage years 16 through 30, you have $129,000 more equity doing it this way than if you just simply did a 15-year mortgage. Now, on a 35-year-old, let's say you lived in the home until you were 90, that equity difference is $1.6 million. And you spent exactly the same money. And we're at a network marketing convention. Important stuff. Now, let's change gears here a little bit, because I also want to talk about taxes. Does anybody know what the highest marginal tax bracket in the history of our country is? 94. 1944, 1945, it was 94% was our tax bracket for incomes greater than $200,000 a year. Who was making $200,000 a year in 1944? This guy. You recognize that? It's Ronald Reagan. He was an actor. Also ended up being governor and president. He was getting paid about $100,000 a movie back in 1944, and he did not do more than 2 movies a year, because every penny that he made above $200,000 was taxed at 94%. So he took the rest of the year off and spent time in Santa Barbara at his horse ranch, because it really wasn't even 94%, because the rest of that went to the state of California, so he virtually made nothing, so why work? What was the highest marginal tax bracket during the entire decade of the 70s? Does anybody know? Nobody knows. Somebody knew the 94. The entire decade of the 70s, our highest tax bracket was 70%. Also for incomes above $200,000 a year, which was a lot less than it was in 1944. Agreed? What's our highest marginal tax bracket today? 37%. You guys know taxes are on sale right now? You talk to anybody about taxes, what does they all say? Oh, they're horrible, they're the worst they've ever been. They're actually the lowest they've ever been right now than anybody's lifetime in this room. 37%. Those taxes are going to stay at that level till December 31st of 2025. And then what are they doing? If Congress does nothing, and they're pretty good at that, right? If Congress does nothing, they're going back up to 39.6 at the highest, right? That's what they'll be going back up to. Now, what's interesting as we continue through here is what's going to happen to tax rates beyond 2026. What do you guys think? Are they going up or are they going down? Why do you think they're going up? Why? I'm not going to get political. But would you guys all agree taxes are going up? I don't think that's in anybody's like, no way, they're going to go down. They're going up. I have no idea what they're going to go up to. But for those of you that say higher, why? What will the government be spending money on? Well, here's one thing, Social Security. I think you guys have seen this before. In what year was Social Security first established? Does anybody know? When was it? 1935. How many workers contributed Social Security for every person on Social Security in 1935? 42 to 1. You didn't know that, did you? How old did you have to be to draw on Social Security in 1935? 65. When the average life expectancy was 62. Social Security was never meant to be a retirement plan. It was a safety net for people that were living too long. The average life expectancy was 62. You couldn't even collect on it till you were 65. So if you made it to 65, how long did you draw on Social Security before dying? 2 years. You guys are getting the picture, aren't you? I don't want to put a damper on today because there's actually a solution here. I'm going to show you here in a little bit. Social Security continued. How many workers now contribute for every person that takes out? 3. Those of you that are younger than 40 should be wondering if it's going to be there at all. What will the ratio look like in 10 years? 2 to 1. Now, you collect on Social Security at age 62, and the average life expectancy is 85. Do you guys see a problem arising? Those numbers don't work. Agreed? They do not work. David Walker, some of you may have heard that name. He was the Comptroller General of the federal government from 1998 to 2008. He was also head of the Government Accountability Office for those same years. He was basically the CPA of the federal government. He's written a book called The Power of Zero. You guys can get it on Amazon. I would encourage you to read it and or listen to it. What I'm showing you today is a synopsis of that entire book. There is a tax train coming bigger than anything we've ever seen in our lifetimes, and I'll show you why. Entitlement programs are a fiscal cancer. Medicare is 5 times more expensive than Social Security. In order to keep these promises, tax rates have to double. With no change in our tax rates, the national debt will grow by $2 trillion a year every year until it reaches $53 trillion, and then what happens? Bankrupt. Now, I'm not even going to talk about our unfunded liabilities. That's a whole other story. Right? They say our deficit now is like $22 trillion. If you look at our unfunded liabilities, it's over $200 trillion. That's a whole other conversation. Some of you are like, you're getting this, okay? So, give me a 4-letter word that explains why tax rates have to double. Debt, what else? Entitlement, that's longer than 4 letters. Dumb. Any others? Lazy, plan,